Gunny is a friend of Jason's Levin character. I think Gunny might call him Levon, but Gunny is a guy who's been on several, sort of teams with him and has served with him and on various tours. So they're military buddies. They're sort of brothers in arms.
Remember Gunny?
Your blind war buddy that doesn't know he's blind?
That's the one. You shot a foot to the left, I'll be dead.
I wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
And I think in the story, Gunny functions in several different ways, but the biggest way that he functions, I think, is a mirror to Levon's limitations. And I think that, in the scene we talk about him wanting permission to do things, but I think also Gunny's been a product of Levon's failure to a certain degree, his blindness. He's blind because Levon wasn't able to save him from being hit with this thing, and I think he reminds him constantly of his sort of vulnerability and his limitations as a man. I think that's part of the reason for the character there, is to check him and to tell him that he's not immortal and that he's not perfect and there is collateral damage to his actions. My character sort of enters early in the movie and then kind of finishes the movie as well. And so we're starting very early when Levin comes here to try to figure out whether or not he's going to be able to accomplish the task, and sort of view me as this mirror, I said, to his limitations, and to see if it's, if he's able to let go of some of the guilt of what's happened between us to be able to be called to action. And then we're also shooting the end where he comes back and we sort of wonder if he's ever gonna be rid of this drama in his life. So we've been shooting that. We're out in this cabin, this beautiful cabin. It's like a fire pit, and there's some lovely woods and stuff. The production value is amazing. It's a pain in the ass to get here, which is always great for production value. But it's beautiful, and we're sort of trying to carve out what this brotherhood is between these guys, and trying to find that. I just really like Jason Statham movies, so I wanted to do one of those before I die. And then the other thing was I wanted to do another David Ayer movie, because we've worked together in the past twice. I did a movie called End of Watch with him, and I did a little bit in Suicide Squad as well. And David and I have known each other for the years, and I think he's a really great writer, director, and has a very specific point of view and a very specific, deep flavor take on the world. And it's nice to dip into that. He's been very gracious. It's always interesting to meet, big stars and see what they're really like behind the curtain. And I think he's pretty much as he appears. He seems pretty, grounded and real, and yet has a certain vulnerability, which I find admirable for somebody who makes action movies. But I sort of think, I was like, maybe that's the reason why we like watching Jason Statham movies, because he's just very human and very engaged in a way that I really like. And he's really game to play around. I mean, we've been trying to deconstruct the scenes, and that's David's big thing, is he likes to go in and really pick them apart and see what's really important or what's vital to the story, to the character, what he wants to reveal. And Jason wants to get in there as well and wants to play around and dig around for some of the depths, and so that's been a lot of fun. I really enjoy being around him off set, off camera, and I enjoy working with him on camera. I think he's a real searcher, David. I think he's really searching always to try to deepen and he's not precious, which I really like, but he really wants collaboration. He really wants the actors to bring things. He wants the prop guys to bring things, the light. I mean, he really wants other people to enliven this world. And as I say, that can sometimes be rare with writer-directors, but I really like that. So it's always a bit of an adventure with him. It's an odd thing, like being an instrument in a band. Like, I don't necessarily know that me understanding the meaning of the song makes me a better guitarist. Like, I sort of feel like the chords that I have to play sometimes are based on story dynamics as opposed to the actual histories of something. And my relationship to a military situation is not going to be a military guy's relationship to a military situation. So a lot of times I'm having to work with my own internal metaphors around stuff as opposed to actual content. But sometimes it's useful to have just the language of the world. Like, it's been useful. We've been having good military advisors on this to talk us through, you know, a lot of the language of the weaponry or the teams these guys were on, or how they work together, or why they work together. And what to me is most important is not always the content of that research, but more to see the fire that it ignites in another person when they speak about it. And so that's always very valuable, to see what draws people. Like, I know nothing about cooking, but when I watch a chef talk about what sour tastes like, it gives me a real clear indication of how to play a chef. And I think that this movie, you know, you have to sort of do that this way as well. You got to play with like metaphors around that. But I do, you know, I do some research. But I find that as I go on, stories are really personal things, and I think the more personal your work is on anything, the better you are.